What is up, my ninjas? I'm Strident, and welcome to another video. Today, I'm gonna kind of just do an overall kind of update. I haven't done one of those in a long time, and I've got a lot of stuff that I don't even know if I'm gonna review all of it. I would like to, but there's a lot of stuff going on, as you guys might know. But I figured I would give you guys a little Easter egg with this. So some of you know this is one of the reviews that's coming. Not just him, but the whole entire uh, group. It's kind of a revisiting of an older video. A lot's been going on lately, but ODC Blitz is coming to you, and Them Guts Impact is coming to you. I did not forget, and happy birthday, happy belated birthday. I know I told you happy birthday on your birthday, but happy belated. Sorry I didn't post it in the Strident page, but we were talking on your birthday anyway. So, but I got this guy on his way. Sorry it's taken so long. Life has just been, whew, it's been hectic. Oh yeah. I've been working, and I have been kind of stockpiling my stuff. I don't like haul videos. That's why I don't normally do this. I do the update videos so you guys know that either, there's a figure that's come out that I have an opinion on or not. There's some figures that you're going to see in this update that I don't plan on reviewing because either there's not that much to say or, like Marvel Legends. I don't really review Marvel Legends because there's not very much to say. They're Marvel Legends. You know what I mean? Like, it's to a point now where everybody knows what to expect. You're getting essentially one of a handful of bodies with some certain stylistic improvements, and it's the same across the board. Captain America's Captain America. It's going to be one of like two or three body types. Either it's the movie body type, it's the Alex Ross body type, or it's the comic body type, and they have a new one on the way. You kind of know what to expect. Either they nailed it or they didn't. I do have a couple Marvel Legends on here, as you can see. Actually, I'll use my pointer. I haven't used that in a while. I have, so I found the Ironmonger Obadiah 2-pack. I actually found it about a month ago. Our Target, maybe it was a couple weeks ago, our Target was stocked fully with the Infinity Saga stuff. And then we came back 2 weeks later and it was all gone. So I had the foresight to hide, the old ways. I was telling my son, I was like, we practice the old ways where, see something that you want to get, you may not have the money for it, you move it. And then you come back and you get it. Can't do it all the time, but sometimes if it's one of the ones that's on your list and you really want it, which I know, talking to some of you guys, that's every figure. Because some of you guys are like, man, I gotta have it all. But you know, um, that isn't everybody. So, but I really wanted Ironmonger, both for me and my older son to geek out about, because I went and hunted down the 3 3/4 inch version several years back, actually, when Iron Man first came out, or it was Iron Man 2. Between those two lines, they gave us a lot of the 3 3/4 inch, 4 inch figures, and Obadiah was one of them. And he was bigger than the 4 inch Iron Man at that time, which was pretty nice. It was a nice change of pace. So, yeah, there's that. Um, I picked her up a long time ago. This is a pretty phenomenal figure. The sculpt, the paint, the articulation, everything's great. It's one of those ones where it's worth pointing out. It's not very much to say. And I picked her up the same day that I picked up the modular suit, the 90s modular Iron Man suit. Marvel vs. Capcom and Marvel superheroes and all that. It was dope because that's the era, like, at the end of that period, like, that's when I was still into Iron Man. So it got me on a kick where I was like, I love the movie suits, even though I don't like the portrayal of Tony Stark in the movies. So I started going and getting the suits that I like the best, starting with the Mark V. Now, This Mark V is the one from ZD Toys. So, and this is my custom Tony Stark, made from a Buffy the Vampire Slayer figure. But this is the ZD Toys Mark V. It's a pretty cool figure. I love the paint job on it. I love the articulation. Everything is just fucking amazing. But the thing I like the best, and why I decided to focus on ZD Toys for my Iron Man suits instead of Marvel Legends, these cost twice as much as the Marvel Legends, so they're about 40, sometimes a little bit more. But you know, if it's like a figure arts down to, I know I had my pointer and then I used my finger, it's just force of habit, but down to things like back in the day, you could pull this up, you know, the telescoping torso to get a little bit more bend. It's always more back, you know, than it is forward. But when you get a little bit more, but I don't need it for that. This is just an example. The leg, you have the drop down hip, give it a little bit more, especially out to the side. But I just need it because it feels like figure arts. I mean, like, look at this in his hand. Hopefully I can get it at an angle where you can see it. Yeah, right there. Let's see if we can get up in there. Yeah, you see that? It's a little bit reflective in there. And then he comes with whatchamacallit parts. Option parts, so that you can actually have like the effects, you know, blasting effects. Because if you remember in Iron Man 2 using this suit, the repulsors gave off like a spark. And I dug that. I just dug this suit, and it also comes with a better, a more accurate case. So a lot of the cases that they did were like in between transformation, and I know some people would like it. It's not inherently wrong. I'm not saying it sucks or anything like that, but I wanted it closed completely, and I wasn't gonna wait till Marvel Legends remembers that they never gave us a proper a proper 6-inch version of that, and then they give us one for $30 and it only comes with an extra pair of hands and the case. You know what I'm saying? This thing came with a stand, extra hands, effect parts. I think that's it. I actually have an extra head, like an unmasked head, that's on the way. That's really accurate, so that I can finally build one better than this, because this guy's not very posable. I mean, you can see he has a lot of cuts, like in his arms and stuff, and elbow joints, but he's kind of gangly. And you see his sleeve is young ass sleeves, man. Like, come on, man, you could do better than that. But I like everything else. I mean, even the pants legs, if you pay attention in Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. always wears lifts or like heels to make him taller. So his pants legs, they make the pants legs wider at the bottom so that it hides the big ass heel on his shoes. He apparently is very self-conscious about this now that he's playing a superhero and he's surrounded by like people who are, you know, like fucking specimens and shit. So, you know, whatever. I figured at the time this would work, and it's still not a bad Tony Stark. I mean, I just drew on the beard. Come on, stop playing with me. And it kind of does the job. Tried to get fancy with where the mustache connects to the goatee. See that little zigzag? So bad. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely be changing this up. But, you know, it did the job. It's doing the job for the time being. And I got Obadiah back there so they can, like, kind of argue amongst themselves, which is pretty dope. Who else do we talk about? Maybe I should move whoever I'm finished talking about. Next up, we got Miles Morales. This is the Sentinel version. I got this a while back, posted it on IG so you guys could see I had him. A review is coming at some point. I don't know when, because, like I said, I've already got things in the clip and in the chamber, actually, and I need to, you know, fire and let those reviews go, finish them. Certain ones took a little longer than expected, And then the whole thing with Invincible Toys kind of caught me off guard because, like, in the back of my mind, like, number one, I didn't expect that I would be joining them. You know what I mean? It kind of just happened. And then number two, just things keep going and going and going and going, and it's positive, so I can't complain, and I'm rolling with it. You know, you kind of got to be able to take advantage of things as they fall into your lap, if you are fortunate enough to have them fall in your lap. And since that was a very fortunate situation, I figured I would just roll with it and keep the momentum going, put in the work necessary, because it's not all, you know, just, you know, hang out with your friends and make toys. It's expensive to make toys, and it's a lot of work, you know. So yeah, that's been one of the things. I was doing that, working on that when he popped up, and I am impressed with this figure. I need to do a quick review at least. He deserves a full review because he's by far, and I'm going to say that here before other people, you know, say it, he's by far the best Miles Morales figure on the market, hands down. You have people who are like Mafex aficionados, and while they have improved greatly, this is still in another league from them. And it's simplicity. It's like, it's, you know, I used to say sublime. Things can be really sublime. That's literally what you got here. You got a kind of an articulation scheme that's so easy to play with. Like, for instance, Sentinel does things with a single joint that other companies can't do with 2 or 3 joints, like this shoulder. You got your, you know, your up, got your down, lateral, in between, your outward lateral, not, well, I'm sorry, lateral from here, like he's reaching out. Lateral from here, I just showed you. But then look at how far back. He doesn't even have a butterfly joint, but look at that. That's fucking, that's beautiful. And you look at companies like Reveltech, and they put the freaking joint, they do this, they do something similar to this, except they cut out so much of the arm and have the joint way up here and have the arm sitting way up on top. And sometimes it looks weird. It looks better on Deku than it does on like All Might and some of those figures. It looks unnatural. But like when you look at what he can do, you know, I talk about like arm over arm. Look at that. So if you wanted him to be like spraying web across his hands, look at this. Or if you you want him to be pretending to shoot a fireball like in modern Street Fighter, look at that. It's perfect. Or he's trying to catch a baby or something. Baby's falling or somebody's falling. And he's like, oh my god. Oh my god, where you at? Oh my god. Who? Ta-da! He can catch a baby. So, yeah, there's things about this figure that I'm just amazed. You know, no pun intended. He's fucking amazing. He can even squat. You know, the Spider-Man squat. All you comic book artists out there, you should know Spider-Man is all about elbows and knees. And that's one of the things that, like, a lot of Spider-Man figures can't do. Homeboy can do it. I mean, look at this. Let me put him in my hand so you can see it. Look at that. And I just put him together real quick in that pose, and he's holding it. Nothing else is supporting him. So yeah, he deserves a full-on look, and I will be doing that sometime here in the near future. But yeah, he needs attention, so he's going to get that attention. So let me put him up on something so you can see that. I mean, look at that. It's so natural. Acid Rain. So, you know, I've talked about not liking Acid Rain and how the figures look very, they're just ugly. The paint jobs are usually really bad. Well, I found some that don't have that issue. and they turned out to be pretty good figures. Him, not as much as her. So I picked up Tamara. She was the first one I picked up. She's the war correspondent. I dig this look, and I dig the fact that she doesn't have an MO that I already have as one of my figures. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't have journalists, you know? So I figured, hey, if I'm going to get one of these, it's going to be someone that does something that I don't already have, you know, a slot I don't already have filled. But from head to toe, she's a pretty dope figure. I was very surprised. I'm sorry about that. It's late. It's like 2 in the morning. I just figured I would sit down and talk to you guys about this stuff because I haven't done it in a while. I miss doing this more often. Life has been a lot busier since COVID, you know? Come on. There you go. But yeah, colors are nice. Details are nice. You can take the hat off. You have to take her ponytail off to do so. But even the hair underneath, it's like a gold color. And it looks good. I was like, wow, okay, I'm a little impressed here. And the ponytail is on a ball joint, so you can move it around properly, but see that? It's pretty nice. And again, it's not perfect, mind you, but you notice that the face is clean and then the body is kind of dirty, like she's actually been out there working, which I like. You wipe your face off when you get dirt, like, or mud or something on you, so it makes sense that her face wouldn't be as dirty as, you know, the rest of her. So I dig that. And her posability is pretty nice, man. That she's got some kind of seemingly butterfly joints. Actually, they're butterfly joints in her shoulder. They're not even seemingly. They're 100% butterfly joints that actually work. I'm sitting here looking at it or behind the camera. You see that? Which is nice. Gives her more ability to kind of look like she's holding her camera the right way, which I like, with her crazy looking telephoto lens. But it looks legit, you know? Some of the details, like look at that button, the shutter button on the camera. It's so clear and clean, crisp, you know? So I gotta give him that. Same thing with her belt buckle, nice and crisp. Her face details are kind of crisp. But I'm gonna be reviewing her. I paid, she was on sale, so I didn't pay as much as I normally pay for as much as you would normally pay for an Acid Rain figure. So I'm impressed, and yeah, I'm gonna do a proper review on her at some point. Now with Caleb over here, he's a slightly different story. I actually got gypped in this situation because of course, the listing said it showed the whole pack. He's supposed to come with a bike. It's called like a Maritime Grampus or something like that, or Maritime, I can't remember. It's Maritime something or other. And it shows him. He's got the baby, of course. This is what made me interested in this figure, is that you have a father protecting his kid, which you often get the mother protecting the child, but you rarely ever get the kid, you know, the father. I'm a father. I grew up watching shit like Lone Wolf and Cub, so the idea of going on your odyssey with your son, you know, or your child in general, is just kind of crazy to me, and it's something that I always thought was cool, and I would love to work on a story where that happens. Maybe in the future, Strident will do that with his kid. You know what I mean? He'll have a kid and we'll have a story where they're on the run or something. I don't know. We'll see. But so anyway, I thought that I was getting him and the bike for roughly $70, and because of shipping from out of the country. Instead, it was just this figure, which sucks. And this is one of those things, I bought them on eBay, and it's one of the reasons why I haven't been on eBay for super long time, because people pull that kind of shit and eBay doesn't do anything to help protect you from that. You know what I mean? Like, they have Marvel Legends and shit on there for $40 that are $24 in the store, and then they're $15 shipping. Why the fuck would a Marvel Legends be $15 shipping? You don't pay that much per unit when you're shipping a whole fucking pallet full of these motherfuckers, but somehow per unit, that's what these scalper ass individuals are doing, and these so-called collectors. It's just fucked up. And then with Acid Rain, everything is a markup automatically. It doesn't matter when it came out. Like for what I paid for him is what 2 newer figures cost, which I have 2 figures on pre-order. I think they're coming out next month, that are more, they look like boss characters from like Contra or like Bleeding Steel, not Bleeding Steel, what, Blazing Chrome, that's what it's called. They've got that cool cyberpunk-ish, the retro, 80s sci-fi kind of feel to him, but that's what I like about this. And so he looks like someone who, could be in the same world as my boy Fei Hong over here, whom I put on the Grampus that I bought a while ago. They look like they would be in the same world. Of course, Fei Hong is brighter, which looks like he has some money, whereas he looks like he does not have as much money, but he's not as dirty as some of the other figures. He's dirty. Don't get me wrong, he is dirty, but not as dirty as some of the other figures. But again, his face, very clearly painted. You can see he has the damaged eye. And the baby is well painted as well, too. I love that. Simple paint job is like 1 color, maybe 2, like a slight, no, it's 1 color. But the wrap or the swaddle is kind of dirty, and that makes sense. I'm glad they didn't put like poop stains down there, you know what I mean? Like, ugh. But anyway, I dig them. I wasn't mad enough to send them back. Also, it was like all the way in fucking China somewhere, so I was like, yeah, I'm not going through all that. I've sent things back to China and waited and waited and waited, and it takes an ungodly amount of time, so I said no thank you. So I'm not doing that. I forgot to mention I got the ZD Toys Mark 85. What's funny about him is I got him twice. Apparently ZD Toys has, sorry about that. Apparently ZD Toys does a kids line where the figures are kind of simpler in design and not design, they're simpler in articulation scheme. They don't have the same amount of joints. Let me pull back a little so you can see them side by side. And they also, the kid's figure doesn't have extra hands. You can see this, his wrists don't turn, so he's stuck like this. The arms are up and down joints, but it's like in the box that the way they showed them, you couldn't tell that this and this weren't the same. But then I looked more and I started to see like little differences between the two, like the shoulder pads, like the extra hands and the what is it called? So the paint job, the extra hands, and the stand, as well as the amount of detail on this. There's a couple auctions that have, they're selling this, but they have the picture of this, and that's the frustrating part. Again, eBay sellers with their underhanded tactics, and that shit pisses me off because, I want to pay you for what you got. It's not like I'm not trying to buy, the item, but these motherfuckers want to play games, and a lot of times these games tend to work, and there's nothing eBay is doing about this stuff, so it's a little frustrating. But I have both. This one's gonna go to my son. But this figure is dope. And again, I don't know if I said it the first time, the Marvel Legends figures tend to be 6 inches. I always figured if he's going to be inside of a suit, he needs to stand a head and shoulders taller than, the guy outside of the suit. And I'll give you an example right here. I'll put Obadiah next to him so you can see what I'm saying. You see what I'm talking about? Head and shoulders difference. That's the way it should be. Because you got to believe that there's a guy in the suit. So for me, this works So going forward, I'm just getting ZD Toys suits. The only suit I'm not going to rebuy from ZD Toys is the Mark 6 because I already have it. No need, unless I trade it with somebody or sell it or someone wants it and they, want to pay a decent price. I don't know. It wouldn't be a lot, but you know what I'm saying, like something fair. But that's the only way I would get rid of it, or if I was helping somebody out, you know. But anyway, and none of that Jun Sang bullshit where you beg me for my figure and then you call me the names because I don't tell you that I'm going to send it, because this is an idea. And I don't sell my figures to everybody. I sell figures to people I understand and I know that I can trust to send me the figure. I've been burned way too many times to just be like, yeah, I'll send it to you wherever you are. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Nah, I don't play that game anymore. 10 plus years on YouTube, and I've been burned a handful of times enough to know better. So yeah, but this is what I'm gonna be doing going forward for Iron Man until I have like the majority of the armors that I like, which will probably be the Mark 1 through to the 6, and then I'll skip a few and then I'll get the like some of the XL series and the I already got the 85, so I don't need to get anything else. And then, there'll be some here and there comic book ones. Like I have the classic Iron Man, I have the modular suit, and I also have the, we have the Silver Centurion. My son has the Marvel Legends version. I'm going to get the Marvel Select version. And I'll probably get Titanium Man with it because I want to have the classic Titanium Man, because I'm not really a fan of most of the other looks. So anyway, there's that. And one last thing about the ZD Toys stuff. Look at this stand. It's kind of like the bigger stands that you get with Hot Toys for flight stands. It's just perfect. I mean, and it cradles your figure the right way. It's not too lightweight like most of the Japanese stands are, where they're super light and your figure can't like pose while on it because he's too heavy as he falls because he's spinning around because I put it in the wrong direction. Like, I love when that shit happens on camera while I'm trying to show people something, It's like, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, I love these flight stands because they do a decent job holding the figure up the way they're supposed to. You gotta love the paint job on this guy. Look at that shine. So natural and so reflective of what we saw in the film. Also in the background is Fat Thor. I picked him up. I pre-ordered him on Amazon and got him for $24, something like that. Dope figure. I don't really get what the extra money was for. Probably the box. But he's pretty dope. I mean, he doesn't really do anything that the old ones didn't do, except you get the right version of, the right handle for Stormbringer or Stormbreaker. And you get extra hands so he could be reaching out like that to get the fucking, to have the weapons come to him. So you can recreate that scene from the end of Endgame. And so, as long as you have him, and Worthy Cap, there's your big three. And, like these days, I've actually become really, really thankful for Mr. Todd McFarlane, or Toddy Mac, as we like to call him, because so many figures that I missed out on, he just pops up with them. And then there's these gems that he pops up with here and there that I just didn't know, I didn't think about, or you just are like, I hope this is cool, it looks cool, let me check this out. But so I've been waiting for a long time to get Dr. Fate, and this is by far the best one on the market. Paint job is nice. The suit itself is intricate, and there's enough let me get up closer so you can see what I'm talking about. There's enough variation in like sculpt to give you the impression of different materials. Nothing looks the same, unless it's supposed to. That cape is phenomenal. It's one thing that I'll give the Injustice games, is that they took capes to a different level, even though I'm still about the classic simple you know, one, like one piece of fabric instead of a whole bunch of stuff. But you could get more complicated and the capes could have more functionality, and that works. But I mean, just look at all that detail and even the varying like paint. And there's people who they have to prove that they're better painters than freaking mass retail, and they got to repaint the figure. But it's not really necessary. Now the only downside is that this figure comes with, like, those hands look amazing, right? These are the figure's actual hands. Fist and holding a gun hand, like with a trigger. Like, it's lazy. And I love what you do, Todd, but no. This is lazy as fuck for a guy who does magic spells akin to what you see Doctor Strange do. And considering that this guy is the original, it pisses me off that somehow we just didn't get those hands, you know? So what I did was I took the Street Fighter figures, Remy, from Soda Street Fighter, and the hands fit in. The pegs are about the same size. And put them up here so you can see. Pegs are about the same size. So you can actually swap them out. And they're a little bit better looking. And he's even got rings on his fingers. So it helps him look more magic and, you know, magicianly. You know, Sorcerer's Apprentice and shit, you know. So I can imagine Nick Cage is under there. Which would have been amazing, you know. So fate commands. So fate commands. Yeah, it'd be fucking amazing if that was the case. But guess what? In the Black Adam film that's about to come out with The Rock, Pierce Brosnan is going to be under there. So we're going to have another awesome actor portraying this character. You know, more awesome than what I just said, obviously. But he's going to give his own little feel to it, and he's going to look the part. We get a former James Bond playing one of my favorite characters. So I'm geeked about that, and I'm geeked about the figure too, because it blows away even this. The design blows this away and the Mezco one. So yeah, this here is quality, you know. I'm so geeked. And then, like, while we're on the subject of McFarlane, let's talk about Steppenwolf. My son and my wife got him for me for my birthday. And this guy is a unit. I mean, like, sorry. I mean, look at this. I'm going to try to pull back as far as I can so that you can see what he looks like standing next to someone tall like Gunslinger Spawn. Because Gunslinger Spawn is a tall individual. And this guy still dwarfs him. Still. Look at that. Like, I mean, he dwarfs everybody. You know? It's fucking nuts. And yes, he's standing on Catwoman's stand. It was what I had open at the time, and it does a good job supporting him. You know, these Mezco stands are really good at supporting your characters, but this, I mean, oh, fuck. I mean, look at the spikes. Look at the pattern. That looks like it was hell for someone to actually sit down and do that. Let me look on his back. It's similar. It's so good. And then let's look at the face real quick so you can see what that horrific scared the alien scared puppy that just wants to go home face. Like, what the fuck? Look at that. That is phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. Look at those eyes. Like, I've yet to get a McFarlane figure with wonky eyes. So props to them for what they're doing. They're making everyone else look kind of stupid because they give us more figure than almost everyone else, and they're giving it to us for drastically less than the competition. You know, Marvel Legends gives you the same thing, same figure. Not, it doesn't feel as substantial. Like, it's not heavy. You know, this is a heavy figure, and they're gonna charge you $40, $50, like the fucking Hydra Stomper. It's like a $50, $60 figure. This guy, I think he was 40. So it's like, you know, it can be done. It's just do the You know, do the people in charge have the balls to do it for less? I mean, you can't tell me Todd McFarlane Productions or Todd McFarlane Toys is as big as Hasbro. They're not. I mean, they're very big and they've been around for a long time, but you can't tell me that Hasbro can't possibly. I mean, Hasbro owns their factories. I keep on saying this. They own their factories. So, like, what we're going through, having to raise money to pay factory, you know, to pay the cost to manufacture our figures and stuff. Imagine if you owned the factory. All you're paying for is wholesale for all your materials and such. You obviously pay your labor and then you're done, you know, and you own the factory. So, you know, it's one huge cost that you're cutting out. But anyway, let me stop talking about that stuff. Gunslinger Spawn. This figure here, I mean, just look at it. The design speaks for itself. It's one of the most sound designs I've seen in a toy in so long. And there's so much detail on this figure. Like, I'm going to zoom into his, the handle of the rifle. Look at the skull and the, let's see if we can get that clearer. The rib cage and all that. Like, what the fuck, and the flames. It's dope. Same thing goes for, like, even on his hat, the skull's on there. I mean, it's very edgy, but I mean, Spawn is like king of edgelords. So, you know, the whole Spawn story is like edgelord mecca. So, you know, you really can't, you know, you have to know what you're getting into with Spawn. You can't really misjudge him like that. It's not trying to not be edgy. That's literally how it made its name. Look at the skull on the handle. It's just detail out the wazoo, man. I mean, look at all that. Spikes look good. I like that the hat's not removable, so you'll never see this guy unless somebody goes out of their way to pull that hat off. You won't see him looking incomplete. The coat is dope because it's red, but it's like more maroon, so it looks more muted in a sense. So you get that feel that we tend to get when they do movies of these characters, where they try to dumb down everything, because, you know, real people wouldn't like it that way. Or in real life, you always hear that stupid sentence. In real life, Spawn, huh? In real life, Hellspawn wouldn't look like insert whatever, you know what I mean? But anyway, this figure's fucking phenomenal. The holsters, I love it. I love it. I always dug Cowboys. I don't know. I never feel compelled to pick up a lot of what they make. Like, I haven't bought a single Dime Novel Legends, and I want to. So I think I will be getting one sometime soon, or at least a couple of them. Somehow I'll try to rope that in with my universe and have, you know, like a planet full of, like a Wild West planet, New Texas or something. Or we'll call it, like, you know, Longhorn or something. Planet Longhorn or something. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, Etrigan, the demon. This figure, I missed out on the DCUC of him too. So along with Dr. Fate, like, he was one of the early ones when I wasn't really like, I wasn't sold initially when I first saw DCUCs. I was kind of like, these look cool, but I don't know that I really want to, you know, invest. I want to get them. And Etrigan was in, I want to say, the first or second wave. It's been so long. ODC would know because he has the whole entire collection. Actually, these are what, not these, but DCUCs are what we became friends over. Is, you know, talking, chatting about them and reviewing them and speculating. And we even got, I remember when somewhere in the middle of the line, we were talking about, we were on figures.com. Shows you how long we were involved with this, because I don't think figures.com even exists anymore. But we were on figures.com, and we were on a thing that Scott Knightlick, it was some type of article written by or about DCUC and the polls that Scott Knightlick has been setting up, and to, you know, for people to decide which characters are going to be in the next waves. And he was telling us, pretty much foreshadowing, that the line is dying because no one's buying the waves. And we're all like, yeah, we're buying it. Anthony was like, I bought the whole way, everything that's been out so far. And I was like, yeah, so many of us are buying these things. It's just that your polls kind of suck. You put characters in that none of us are asking for. Meanwhile, there's a TV show on TV right now with characters that we want to see in the line, and you keep avoiding them. You gave us, and you don't give us the versions of those characters. There was no Huntress in the DCUC line. She came in the Signature series. There was no, Vigilante was there, but they gave us the 80s Vigilante with the V on his chest and the goggles, the Snake Eyes looking version, and none of us asked for that. All of us wanted the cowboy. No Shining Knight, so we couldn't do the Seven Soldiers of Victory. Stripe was awesome, and Stargirl, awesome. But there were figures that we needed that they just kept ignoring, and he told us that it's our fault that the line is dying. And I'm so mad that I didn't screenshot this and like make a video out of it. I know we mentioned it at some point, but he told us that it's our fault. And other people got on his case about it. It's our fault that the line is dying because we won't buy the product. And we're all like, that's not true. I mean, I guess it is our fault because we're not buying the product, but it's indirectly our fault because we're telling you we want something and you're refusing to give it to us in favor of things that you want in the line. What you want to see, figures and characters you like, And he had admitted to this a lot of times, that he was putting characters that he didn't think you'd ever see a figure of in the line, so that those characters would be out there in figure form. And and I know there's other things that go with it, but it was kind of frustrating, especially now you come to 2021. That was in like what, 2009, 2000, no, about 2011, 12, something like that, maybe even 2013. And then now in 2021, you have him debating retroblasting, giving all these corporate answers. I mean, a lot of it is logic and it makes sense. It's the way that they work. He's not lying, but it's just weird how times have changed. You know what I mean? But anyway, after that long backstory, I am still super geeked that I was able to get Etrigan. I waited a long time for this figure. I mean, check out this sword. It's like the sword that the Guardian Force Odin came with in that Final Fantasy Guardian Forces line. You remember that from like the late 90s, like 99, 2000? They did Odin. He came on Selpner, that six-legged steed. And then they had, Jesus Christ, they had, what's the other guy's name? With all the arms on one side. Gilgamesh. And then they had Yojimbo. He was actually a really cool looking figure. They did Bahamut, Shiva. That's a good line. I had Odin. Oh, fun fact. Odin's design in that game was one of the key inspirations for Strident. One of the key inspirations. One day I'll put those, I might have already done it, but one day when I'm doing more, because I told you guys I will be doing some more art related stuff, I'm going to post, in the video, some of my early sketches so you can see how it all came together. But yeah, Etrigan the Demon, I'm glad to finally have this guy, It's pretty dope. Let's see. Let's move you guys over here. Another McFarlane figure, The Prisoner. This figure here, I had seen this figure a long time ago. It's from Fortnite. I told you my younger son is all about the Fortnite characters. He wasn't really big on the game. Now he plays the game. His older brother got him into it. And he enjoys the game to a point. He enjoys the creative mode. He doesn't really dig like playing it online against people because, it's not fun. He's good at it. He wins. He wins a lot, actually. For an 8-year-old, I was kind of impressed. I'm like, shit, okay. But the character designs are where it's at. That's what they excel at. And, like, again, you got to give it to Todd McFarlane, his team, with the clear plastic for the ice shards or the crystal shards on his body. Everywhere that they're there, on the helmet, there's crystal shards up there, and they're kind of transparent. Now he's got two axes. One of the axes, the bigger axe of the two, is from Jazzwares. That's from Valkyrie. I kept it because for a while I was using that for endgame Thor because it looked more badass and more, you know, could be Norse, could be Scottish, like knotwork. But this is the smaller of the two axes, is the one that McFarlane Productions or McFarlane Toys does. And, you know, it's still cool. It's just small. But you can see the details are sharper on the McFarlane one than on the Jazzwares one. The problem I've had with these figures is that, like, I bought Jonesy for my little dude, and his wrists broke really quick. I was like, wow, the wrist can't even stand up to a kid putting a gun in his hand. Like, he broke at the wrist real quick. And I was just like, yeah, no. So we took him back, and we got the Jazzwares version. Overall, the Jazzwares versions of these figures are sturdier. But this one, he seems like he's an older figure. He seems a lot sturdier than the Jonesy we picked up. And here he is without his helmet on. He's very old. He reminds me of something out of Dungeons and Dragons or Battle Chasers. Even Thanos. He has a little bit of a Thanos kind of maw to him with the line work going down his chin and stuff. But, I mean, this figure, man, that's pretty dope, you know? They took Fortnite and just, you know, went nuts. I like it. I like it a lot. McFarlane and his team really, shit, if I could have been working for McFarlane Toys, I would have. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys, I feel like there's a lot to learn from looking at how they approach toy design, even when they make figures that are much bigger than everybody else's figures. League of Legends, the other day, when I went and bought Obadiah and the Ironmonger, we found this. This is Thresh. And I had always said, games like League of Legends, like I have the screensavers, you know, like the character artwork that's animated. I have those as screensavers on my computer because they're fucking phenomenal. I mean, the art that, I think it's, is it Riot? I think it's Riot. Their art is just amazing. And the character designs, the animations, everything is dope. I just hate that it's a MOBA and you can't get to see all that stuff. I don't want to play MOBAs and then have to buy a giant TV so that I can see the characters. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just stupid. And it just feels like a waste, you know? You put all that effort into it and that's what we get, you know? It just feels kind of like it cheapens things. Give me just a second. And these figures, that's what I was looking to find out. These figures are made by Spin Master. Now, at first glance, he's kind of cheap looking because it looks like it's just all black. But if you get up close, you have the gloss finish. You have the matte brown on his pants. You have a grayish, like a charcoal gray, like an 80%, maybe 90% charcoal gray. You have matte and gloss finish there. Matte in the front, gloss on the sides, and then where all the bones, the trim that are bones, it's a gray. So like it's more than what you initially get. And then you can tell that it's cast in that translucent green, so you get that glowy effect. And should you choose to put lights behind him, you get that glowy effect. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty dope. You know, all his weapons glow a little bit. Like, it looks pretty damn good. I'm pretty impressed with the approach to this guy. So, you know, props there. Shit, look at the lantern, right? Right? Look at that. That's pretty dope. So yeah, they did something good here. I'm glad they're doing it. The designs are pretty dope. Um, there's a couple characters that I really want. There's that kid that plays with Time, with the mohawk. I can't remember his name. And there's the one girl who Jinx's sister with the big ass gloves. Um, I want the mechanical gloves. I want to figure her. And the sniper chick, she's like a steampunk sniper chick. She looks dope. I want to figure her too. And not Darius, but there's that other guy that usually fights Darius. He's got a huge sword, huge shoulder pads. He looks like the main character from one of the main characters from what is the guy's name from Battle Chasers? It's been a long time. You remember the big dude who looks like Guts and fights with a long sword, and he's a martial paladin? Tell me in the comments. I know somebody remembers that guy's name. Aramis was Galley's father, who's the main character, and she has his gloves. But I'm talking about the he's like a disgraced martial paladin or whatever. Anyway, I like those figures. Now, I want to talk real quick about this right here. I got the whole wave except for Skeletor because I don't really like that Skeletor's face. And sorry for the shakiness. So I would like to talk about this guy right here. So I'm a HeMan fan. I've been a HeMan fan for a long time, but my favorite version of HeMan is 2000X. This dude right here. I customized my King Grayskull and made my 2000X HeMan. Now, it's strange having this and then looking at this because there's things about this figure that I like. Articulation, man. He's got like really great articulation. Really cool. I like the redone power sword where it's long and it looks like he could actually stab that through somebody, whereas before it was always kind of stubby. Let's see, do I have it somewhere? Um, no, I don't have one readily available because I don't have the classic one readily available because I don't use the regular one. I always use this is my power sword right here. And I remember what the story is and why, but I prefer a big ass powerful sword with a big ass powerful dude. This sword looks nice, but it's not powerful looking. You know what I mean? And there's people with their nostalgia and they're gonna say it's perfect. It looks like we've already been through how the 2000X designs trump the original designs because they just take everything that worked and they make a few logical changes to make it a little bit better. But there's just something off about this figure. I don't know if it's the fact that it looks more like a toy, whereas this has more color and more paint. I mean, granted, we paid $35 for this and you paid $20 for that, which makes sense. You know, you get what you pay for. And this is from this version is supposed to be a throwback to the classic cartoon, whereas this here is more in the realm of comics and such, you know. And you know, he's modernized in a better way, but there's just something about this figure that I just like. It feels like a child's toy. They did a lot of things right, don't get me wrong. Like the He-Man figure itself is phenomenal, but he's huge. So I can imagine being a little dude in this day and age being geeked about getting this figure. But he has a little kid face, and that's weird. I don't understand how we got to that point where He-Man looks like a little kid. There's just something about him that looks more, I don't know. He just looks too cartoony or something. I don't really know what the thing is because his muscles don't look cartoony. It's a number of things that just throw off aspects of the design, and it's not bad. I love the bigger loincloth. The shield's too small. I'm not really a fan of that. Maybe it's just that all the colors are too bright. But He-Man always had, on cartoons, he had brighter colors with the exception of this. Now in 2000X, they used to light him with very cool, no, yeah, they were somewhat cool, in some scenes, warm shadows. Whereas in this, he's lit in that anime format with you have the color, a tone, and a highlight. So it's supposed to emulate the shadows and then the light spots. But you look at the toy here, and this toy has a very nice, subtle, airbrushed skin tone, realistic skin tone. He doesn't have this beach bronzer where he looks like somebody sprayed him. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's consistent. Don't get me wrong. It looks good, but it's just something off. And then like Battle Cat is humongous, and I mean, some people will like it, but like he doesn't sit on it properly. Whereas like the classics, Battle Cat had, and Battle Lion, because Battle Lion has the armor that's, no, that's not true. I'm saying it backwards. I switched them so that I would have Battle Cat that looks like 2000X. Battle Lion had the 2000X Battle Cat armor, and if you swap them, you end up with the 2000X Battle Cat. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's something about the look. This one looks a little soft, and I get it. The reason why he looks kind of soft, I mean, he looks kind of crazy when you have the armor on. But the reason why he looks soft is because when you take this off, he's Cringer. And this was the main reason why I got him. But then when I got him and I saw how huge he was, I was like, fuck, I can't even use him as Cringer and then have him turn into Battle Cat. And then the color is different. I don't know. There's some weirdness with this. I mean, it's not bad. If that was the only He-Man you had, it's fucking phenomenal, you know? But if you have He-Man from, you know, across the years, you know, the decades, he might not necessarily be the be-all, end-all. You know what I'm saying? Like, this one is just like a footnote in the history of the character, whereas there's other versions that are more, you know, they're just more. They're better in a sense, you know, they feel more like what He-Man is supposed to be. So, yeah, it's strange, you know. I've been looking at him trying to figure out what is it I don't like about him, you know, even like getting used to the simplistic articulation here, and then playing with this, he has more articulation, but you can't make him do some of the things I want him to do. Like, he can't hold the sword with two hands because the handle is shorter. You know what I'm saying? It's not a broadsword, whereas this handle is a broadsword handle. It's longer, or a longsword handle. So if I put the 2000XX sword in his hands, he'll be able to hold it with both hands, theoretically. I haven't done it yet. It feels like blasphemy if I do that. But I know I sound very, you know, too hardcore, but there's just, like I said, something about this that feels more kiddo oriented, even though this is supposed to be oriented for us, you know. They said it was the classics, and we all know the drama that happened with that. The series was terrible in the sense that they killed Adam twice. You focused on Teela, and you had like a weird, made-up, weird backstory for Castle Grayskull that wasn't in line with what we know Castle Grayskull to be, which, I mean, it is called Revelation, so it makes sense that that's why they would change things, but I don't like that they changed things. You know, there's a better way they could have done it. So, you know, I get it. A lot of people don't like it. It's kind of funny because now I'm seeing all of them. Excuse me, sorry. Now I'm seeing all of them on the shelves. Everything. Battle Cat, all the first wave. My favorite from this wave is Evelyn. She's actually the best figure, in my opinion, in the wave. Extra head, all that stuff. She just looks great. I just didn't feel like bringing all of them out because, you know, the only one I really have anything to say about is this He-Man figure here. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do a review. Maybe I'll go into more detail. I mean, I really don't know what else there is to say. It's not really... It's almost unfair to compare him. It is better than the Origins figure, because he holds his weapon. So if you actually choose to play with him, the weapons will stay in his hands. You know, if you want to make him actually like fight, you know, Skeletor or something, this will stay in his hand. It won't fall out unless you really, really like rip it out of his hands. But I don't know. I think if you have kiddos and you want to get them into He-Man, maybe get these for them. Might work better than getting them the Origins. The Origins figures, they're going to lose all the weapons. They're going to, you know, get frustrated. The Origins should have been for this, like, if you're trying to appeal to the demographic that these were actually made for, you should stick, the Origins should have been that. And then, like, swap the demos, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's just my opinion. I'm actually still over the moon with this because this is what I've always wanted. I collected the 2000X line, and I love those figures, but you know, they're not as posable. They're kind of statuesque. They're old school, and this was perfect as far as an update goes. So, God, I have to give props to Scott Knightlick and his people because the way they delivered the figures, it allowed for us to still get what we wanted in the line. So you can get in where you fit in because He-Man is a multi-generational, you know what I mean, line, or a multi-generational, because it's been around for shit 3 decades. So, you know, I'm glad to get them. So anyway, that's what I got to say about He-Man. And before I get into my next and last figure of this update, remember her. This is from Wetworks, from McFarlane Toys. This is the Blood Queen. She's a vampire. This was when toys were unapologetically toys. They weren't trying to be anything else. Figures were trying to look badass and interesting, and they were directly linked to the comics that we were reading. She doesn't look very evil. Her face doesn't look evil, but this costume is amazing. So yeah, I picked her up a long time ago. She's been sitting on my shelf. You may have seen her in the background of a lot of videos because she'd been there for a grip. I just love these old figures, you know. I like getting these to be enemies for, you know, anything that I'm doing. Like if I'm doing something, playing with Power Rangers or something, it's cooler. I like Sentai when the villain could actually kill the heroes. You know what I'm saying? She has real hair. This is strange, right? Actual hair. I don't really need that on my figures, but like, just think, this was from 1996, and they were doing this kind of thing. You know, I miss these days somewhat because, like, I guess the process was simpler, but we managed to have so much fun with these figures back in the day. I remember wanting this figure to make her fight the Toy Biz Blade, and I could never find her. And then I went on eBay a while back and I got a whole bunch of old McFarlane shit, stuff from Wetworks, stuff from Spawn, a whole bunch of Spawn figures that I had never seen before, like Toxic Spawn or something like that. He's got like a glowy kind of green body. I'll eventually show you some of these figures at some point because, you know, they need to be revisited because these figures are amazing. But yeah, just figured I'd give you a little trip down memory lane. I miss this kind of just bold, unapologetic, like, I love comics, I know you do, so these are for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, good times, man. Anyway, last bit I'm gonna do. There's some other figures that I got that I probably will do something with. You know, I've got some Transformers. Still got to talk about Prime, Optimus Prime, Siege, Earthrise Optimus Prime, Vijovis from who made that? X-Transbots? No, not Make Toys. I can't remember. I think it's Striker Manus from, I think that was Make Toys. I could be wrong. And I have a lot of other Transformers to talk about. I still got to talk about actually this Catwoman, because she's cool, flawed but cool, and I found a way to fix the pouch that was, broken. It was missing a piece or something. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about her, and I think that's about it. So the last thing I want to talk about is I have not forgotten that I had told you guys about getting Warden after like waiting years and years for this bad boy. So I am going to review him and let you know about probably the best Transformer in my collection. And I have a lot of Transformers because I've been a lifelong Transformers fan. And I love this figure. I fucking love this figure. There's so much about him that screams the type of design that made me love super robots. Like I love Tranzor Z or Mazinger in the US. Everything from them yelling out the special move names to just the look of the characters, And this guy kind of feels like something akin to that. Something you would see in Super Robot Wars, or, you know what I mean? I mean, it's undeniably, it's a Transformer. I mean, look at that head. It's practically the Transformer symbol. But, detail on him, and there's die cast in here, the way the joints work, the ratchets, the engineering on this guy. He puts 95% of the figures out there on the market to shame. Probably 95% of the figures out there to shame, because like everything works the way it's supposed to. Nothing was stuck. And I got him brand new. It was cheaper actually to get him new than to get him used, because you motherfuckers out there are crazy. Selling a used version of this figure for like 2 and 3 times what he costs mint in the box, brand new from the company. I was like, fuck that. I'm getting him from the company in his box, brand new, sealed, so I can open him and experience everything without someone else having fucked him up trying to do the transformation. And believe me, that's the one piece to this puzzle that's not as fun as everything else. His transformation is complicated. I may not even show it on screen because I don't like that part of those videos. I feel like it's part of what you experience when you buy a Transformer, is the puzzle of transforming them from, robot mode to vehicle mode. And, something that I don't feel is very respected when it comes to Transformers is how amazing a Transformer technically really is. You literally, if it's a good Transformer, for instance, this is an amazing Transformer, right? But when done right, you get like a great Transformer. This Prime right here, this is Earthrise Prime, and the Siege Prime is right up there with him. You can play with this as a robot, and then you can transform him, and the transformation is pretty like intuitive. You don't need the instructions, and he works as a vehicle and looks like a vehicle. And if you didn't tell someone, and none of the like arms and the feet, they're not really pointing out where you can tell that, that's his arms and that's whatever. Like if you didn't know what Transformers were, and you could just play with it as a car if you didn't know. And all that is in one figure. The vehicle mode, the puzzle, and then the robot mode. And then you have weapons to go with him, and he's posable. Like, this is what I was waiting for. That G1 shit is for the birds, That's all wishful thinking. You imagine in your head that the original toy was this. Then you get this, or any of the third-party ones, like the fucking MP10, or some people, the MP44, which I'm just like, nah. But, we imagined that the old Prime was this. Now we have this, and it's fully realized. I can sit there and me and my sons play with our Transformers, and I can actually make him point his fucking finger. Like, or open this one can open his hands. I'm sorry. My MP5V can actually point. Freaking Hot Rod, the studio series Hot Rod, literally can open up his head. And you remember how he had the visor to drop down in the movie? You can do that. He even has the buzzsaw hands and all that shit. Like, you can do all those things that we wanted to do with our toys back in the day with these. And then you hear people saying, oh, it's okay, it's all right, it's okay, it's like you're missing how amazing these figures actually are. I actually find that over the years, I've been consistently able to find all the Transformers that I've been looking for with no problem. And everything else has been a hassle. It's been easier to collect Transformers over the years than just about anything else next to maybe McFarlane. McFarlane stuff stays stocked. I haven't had any issues getting McFarlane toys. You know, like freaking getting this guy over here. I remember saying that was the end, but I forgot that I had Deku to talk about. It was such a hassle to get this guy. Took me 3 tries, not 4. Pre-ordered him, canceled the pre-order at different stores because they ran out and they kept saying, oh, you've been put on the wait list. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? What wait list? Oh, we sold out. I'm like, but I pre-ordered him. How could you run out in pre-order when, you know, that's the whole point of a pre-order? I never understood that. The whole point of a pre-order is that we know how many to make because you pre-ordered it. Everyone who's interested has said, we want one. We tally up those numbers, and then we make those, and we make extra to get out to whoever else, wherever else we have deals to make those things, you know? But he sold out there. Then I was like, fuck it. And I canceled it because I was frustrated. And I was like, I'll just wait till they reissue him. And then I got a reissue notice at like Kirin Hobby or Ami Ami or something. And then I never jumped on that. I was like, fuck. Then he popped up for pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store. And I ended up pre-ordering him, and that's how I have him now. All Might, I completely missed because, like I said, I didn't pre-order the original one. And I don't think, as far as I know, they haven't reissued All Might. But when they do, I will get one. Or I'll do my best to get one at least. But yeah, he's going for stupid price, $200. I'm like, you guys are insane. Just because it's popular right now doesn't mean you need to go that fucking hard on your price. That's insanity. But anyway, Transformers, man. I've been loving collecting Transformers. This guy will get a review. It's a pretty awesome figure. I would like to say he's been worth the trouble. You know, I kind of want to say he's been worth the trouble. But I don't know that he was worth as much trouble as I went through to get him. I feel like I went through a little too much, and for a show that I'm only kind of sort of, I like the first season, maybe the first 2 seasons, and that first movie I had fun with, and then everything else kind of annoys me because, like my homeboy Zorpox said, this show has been around for 5, maybe 6 years, or going on 6 years. And the opening statement of the show is that you're going to show us how he became the world's greatest superhero. And this motherfucker's in like his 2nd year of high school still. I'm like, so when are we going to get to that? I get it. It became popular. I get it. It's making money and dude wants to cake off as much as possible. But can we get to the point of the fucking series? You know what I mean? Get to the goddamn point. I hate that about a lot of like popular shonen anime, is that they pull a Pokemon and just go on and on and on and on and on and on forever past whatever it is that we were trying to accomplish or trying to learn about, and you just, for me, I lose interest, you know? So anyway, I'm glad to have him though, but you know, this is just the contrast to getting my Transformers. I literally waited for a couple of the Transformers folks that I watch to talk about them coming out. Went to the store right after I watched a video, kind of like a preview, because it wasn't a review. It was kind of just saying, this is what he looks like. This is the big thing about him, is that he came with the cab. And or he came with the trailer, I'm sorry. And so the figure cost a little bit more. I think he was he was released as a Voyager when he's just a standard like deluxe or elite or something like that, because they made everything a little bit smaller. And I'm not saying the Transformers are perfect. Hasbro's still pulling all kinds of weird shit that I'm almost certain is not a problem in Japan. But they changed some things. But anyway, after I watched the video, I went to the store the same day. I think it took me 2 tries. I went one day, they didn't have any more of them. Or maybe I went for something else and I saw him and I didn't pick him up then. And then I went back the next day because I was like, you know what? Let me go back and see if he's there, because I almost guarantee that at some point soon he's going to sell out. And I went there. He was still there. There was a whole bunch of them, actually. And they hadn't sold out. Shit, I went back a month later looking for other characters, and he hadn't sold out yet. They always had more. They had about the same number every time I was in there. So, you know, I had got mine already that second day, I want to say. And there was no problem. Like, I actually get a chance to decide if I really want the figure. Because, you know, my thinking at first was, oh, I have the Siege one. I don't really need that one. His robot mode or vehicle mode kind of looks like, you know, an Earth mode truck, but you can kind of do things to make it not feel like an Earth mode truck, you know, like fold the wheels under so that they look like hover wheels or something, you know. So for a while I was just like, I'll stick with that. And I have like all the movie, well, no, that's not true. I have the Transformers Prime Optimus. I have the Evolution Optimus Prime. I have MP10V from Kubian Bao. And then I have the Bumblebee Optimus Prime. So I was like, I don't really need another Prime. And then when I saw it, you know, I watched videos and I'm like, you know, this one has all the things. I can actually like use that trailer with other versions of Prime if I wanted to, because they all need the trailer. Now, of course, Hasbro made it where it doesn't fit, so you have to like finagle it to get it to work. But still, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick him up. And I picked him up and I didn't regret it. Everything about him works. Anything that wasn't perfect, which there really wasn't anything that wasn't perfect, but I wanted him to have a bigger gun. So I gave him one of the guns from my older Optimus Prime figures. But, you know, the gun's still big. I just wanted it to be bigger because I always liked when in the cartoon his ion cannon looked fucking, you know, ginormous. But anyway, long story short, he's pretty perfect. I don't really need anything else from him, and I didn't have to struggle to get him. It was very simple, and I miss having that kind of experience across the board when it comes to getting my Transformers. Even this guy, who was, when I bought him last year, I think it was last year or it was the beginning of this year, when I got him, he had already been like, I don't know, 7, maybe almost 10 years old. Maybe 7 years, 7 or 8 years. I think Warden was released in like 2014. So what, 7 years or 6 years at the time? Because I got him in no, it's 7, because I got him in the beginning of this year, roughly 7. Anyway, the figure's old, and I was able to just go on Big Bad Toy Store. There was a number of places I could have chosen from, but I figured Big Bad Toy Store. I've been buying things from them for a little while, despite having issues with their prices. They had the most like reasonable price for the figure, so I was like, hey, I'll get him. I finally had the money. I had just finished one of the best jobs I had ever done, working on a commercial, and I made a decent amount of money, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna splurge. And it was easy, you know, and I find that finding Transformer figures tends to be easy because sometimes they're high enough ticket price or high enough ticket items that you can keep a lot in stock, you know, because it's not the kind of purchase you're just going to make willy-nilly. Not for everybody. And then sometimes they're stocking enough at a time that it makes it easy for places to hold on to those figures. So, you know, you end up getting the figure you want to get. And you know, I appreciate that. That's the way the experience should be. So anyway, I just wanted to make a point about these. I know I took a decent amount of time, but that's going to do it for this little sit down type deal. God, an hour and some change. There's just a lot going on, you know, and a lot of this, like I said, you may get more information. There's a couple figures I plan on doing reviews where I go back and talk about some older figures and see if they still hold up, you know, over since the last time I talked about them, you know, since their release. So look forward to that, and then some more art related videos, because I got a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to the arts. When it comes to art, especially character design, because you know that's my forte. That's what I'm going to be talking about. But that is going to do it for me. This has been a look at all the things that I have been working on or with since the last update, or a good chunk of what I've been working on or with since the last update. Expect, you know, some more videos. I can't wait. The next video is going to be pretty big, because it's going to be there's a lot to go into, especially because it's a second look at something I already reviewed, but I reviewed it so long ago. The difference of the video is going to be like night and day. So anyway, stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you to everyone who supported us with the Futuristic Combat Soldiers Kickstarter. We still got some time. And you can also find our figures at Big Bad Toy Store, so you can pre-order them there as well. And you know, thank you so much for that, because that's something shit. I didn't think it was gonna ever. I was looking at the numbers before putting up my video, and I was like, we're not gonna make it. It felt like we're not gonna make it, you know. But I hope we do. But it looks like we're not, because we have some time left, you know? And then, like, lo and behold, like the next day, it was like, Landon's like, hey, look at the numbers. We're fully funded. And I'm like, what? And we were over our goal. So, you know, thank you. I mean, maybe it's timing, maybe it's any number of things, but it doesn't matter. We funded, and we're going to be able to give you guys, you know, some cool alternatives to what you're already, you know, afforded with all the other lines and companies out there. And I just can't wait to see it all, you know, through to the end. So, you know, thank you guys. Yeah, that's it for me. You guys have been great. Peace outside.